Welcome back to Clickbait. We are here for another great episode, if you ask me. Joe, Natasha on the mic, along with myself. And we have some really fun, exciting news to get down into in the Bachelor Nation breakdown, as well as, do your friendships need intimacy?
I don't know about
Natasha's going to break that down for us in our clickbait.
Oh, yeah.
I know Joe's going to have some very strong opinions about that, as per usual.
Well, I just don't know why you have to be intimate with your friends, but whatever. We'll go to that. We'll get there.
Did you guys miss me? I missed you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you were not here last time.
I'm over here drugged up.
Freezing your eggs. You're still freezing your eggs.
I'm still freezing my eggs. My eggs are still...
We're going to get into why you weren't here last week, because I think the people want to know. They were asking about you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am away freezing my eggs, and I have I'm on lots of drugs right now to do that, and they made me feel very not normal. I couldn't even form a sentence.
Really?
Yeah, it was really it's so much estrogen. I was just like, that. And also, you feel like your stomach's going to explode. I'm about 3 months pregnant right now. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
My stomach's super big because they're basically what you do is you take all this estrogen and it makes your the follicle that holds the egg really big. And if you have a big egg count, then you're just basically your stomach is just growing and growing and growing, and you have them on your right ovary, your left ovary, and they're just huge. There's about 15 on one side, 11 on another side, and they're just getting bigger.
That's a lot.
Yeah. It's crazy. Wow. I've learned so much, Tayshia. We really I have to tell you so much about it. And also, Joe, I do have a website for you if you are really thinking about freezing your sperm, because it's a thing.
Well, I mean, I'll think about it, but let's break down Bachelor Nation first. All right?
Yeah.
Well, guys, first of all, you're extremely rude. I haven't even introduced our guest yet. So
we got
slow your damn rolls. Yeah, we all own a couple of cups of coffee, apparently. But we actually have a very special guest. She's very near and dear to me, quite literally. It is my co-host, Kaitlyn Bristowe. She'll actually be coming live from in my room today. So this is going to be very fun.
I'm so excited.
And I can't wait for you guys to ask her all the intense questions. So let's get started, shall we?
First headline, Tasha and Kaitlyn are back to co-host The Bachelorette 18. How we feeling? How are you feeling? Talk to us.
I am very, very, very happy. In fact, I cried because it's so surreal that this is just what I am doing now. It's really fun, and I think it's also really surreal.
I do want to say this, Tasha. You did say that you always wanted to be a host, and now you are literally hosting probably one of the biggest shows on television, maybe the biggest on ABC. So
that's really crazy.
I want to say congratulations. It's amazing, and keep going. Tell us about it.
Thank you. Really, though, it means a lot, and it was pretty surreal, like getting the news that I was doing it and then going out to start filming Michelle's season on the same exact day that I signed my contract to be the Bachelorette last year.
Oh my God.
And now I have like a fiance by my side. I'm hosting the show. It's just like, it's very surreal to me. And never did I ever think that this is what I'd be doing.
A lot can happen in a year.
I'm extremely thankful. And yes, a lot can happen in a year.
I will say that, a lot of people say that it's different without Chris Harrison and blah, blah, blah. But this season, watching Katie's season, one of my favorite moments was when you and Katie were walking and you guys had that conversation about, when I was Bachelorette, this is how I dealt with this. And it's like, it's just something that we've never had before and we've never seen before. Like the Bachelorette confiding in another former Bachelorette. Like, that's one of my favorite parts of this whole entire season. And I go back to that conversation when I'm thinking about and like watching, like, Tayshia said, even in this last episode, I'm like, Tayshia has said, if you feel in this way, you should just say it, So I think that it's so great that, having that. And also just, Kaitlyn's going to be here later, but also the conversation that Kaitlyn had with Katie, after the whole blow up with Greg, like that's something that, we just haven't seen before. And I'm so here for those conversations and I'm so here for that. And the women supporting the women and like
That's what it's all about.
I love it. I love it. I'm here for
Well,
it.
thank you.
And
Thank
you know what? And Michelle is very lucky. She is to have you guys.
Thank you.
Are you, before we move on to the next, are you comfortable now? Like hosting? Are you getting to that? You know, like you get to that level where you're just comfortable. Are you still nervous? Like, tell us about that.
I'm comfortable. I mean, this is going to sound weird, but I feel like I'm very comfortable in front of the camera. But I will say I'm very hard on myself. So I try to, I don't know. I wish I could have done things better at times, or I wish I would have said this or that, this or that. So that's kind of like where I internally struggle, just because this is very new to me. You know what I mean?
I'm the same way. That's why I'm asking you the question, because I know you're that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually love what I'm doing, which is amazing. Thank you.
It doesn't.
But yeah, it's tough. You just want to be the best that you can. And I just have to realize that this is like very new to me. This is only my second season doing this, and it's going to come with time, and I'll just continue to get better if I have the opportunity. So,
well, you're coming off great. I mean, you really do. You come off extremely confident. So yes, cheers. Way to go. Way to go, Tayshia. Way to go.
Hold it down, baby. Hold it down. And also, we love that you can just give us the sad tea. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, a year ago, we started clickbait. Almost a year ago. Did you ever think you'd be hosting the show by now?
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, Tayshia, don't forget about us. Don't be going and hosting shows and shit.
First of all, we were doing clickbait, and like I got the phone call while we were supposed to be doing clickbait to be the Bachelorette. Yeah. So like so much has happened with me being on this podcast. It's kind of like you guys have honestly been with me throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
You know, through all the twists and turns. So
we're your good
I really appreciate you guys.
Right, Joe?
Maybe you guys are.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. It's Zach.
Never can leave me.
Fine, it's Zach.
But thank you guys. I love you both so much.
Yeah, you're killing it. You're crushing it. We're happy. We're so happy for you.
Thank you. Well, we have some other amazing Bachelor Nation news. We have Cassie Randolph goes IG official with her new man. We just wanted to bring this headline to light just because, honestly, we're happy for her. You know, Cassie's gone through quite a wild ride through the last couple of years, and we're just really happy that she's in a happy, loving relationship, and that's all that we can want for anybody
and also,
in Bachelor Nation.
And also, honey, he fine. He's super fine. He's real fine. Go ahead, Cassie. Woof. Woof. I was like, he's cute, girl.
Natasha, back up off that man's page. That is now Cassie's boyfriend. So I'm going to need you to just...
I'm over here. I'm like, Jesus, no one told me the side effects were super horny.
That it.
Sorry.
This girl's 3 months pregnant. All of a sudden, 3 months pregnant in a week. She's super horny. I don't know what's going on here anymore.
Joe is so confused, and that's my favorite part of this conversation.
I can't even really. I don't have much to add on this Cassie subject either. I mean, I'm. You know, it's good. It's nice to see her move on because she definitely didn't have the smoothest road
breakup.
Yeah, you know, it's definitely been tough for her. So it's good to see her move on. And the guy looks, whatever, he looks cool. So
yeah, he looks cool. Yeah,
like, I don't know, like
that's what guys say.
That's such a guy statement. Like,
well, I'm not. What am I gonna say? Like, oh yeah, he's super fine. Like, I don't fucking know. I mean, he seems nice.
Yeah,
whatever.
Seems nice.
Seems cool. Good for him.
But no, it's true. We just wanted to say congrats, Cassie, and we are so happy for you, and we're rooting for you from afar.
Yeah, do your thing.
We love. And for our last Bachelor Nation breakdown, we have Blake's sister was brutally honest at Hometowns, asking everything we actually want to know as viewers, and I am dying to get your guys' take on the episode this week. It was blunt and straight to the point, and I loved it.
Yeah.
But I want to know what you guys think.
Okay. I actually like Blake. I really like him. I watch him and I like him. I just think he's funny. I think he's got a personality. His mom and his sister, they just seemed like real people, and they didn't care that they were on camera. They were going to ask him real questions that she would have asked him on the phone, which is like, dude, you're falling in love with like everyone. in like 2 minutes, like what's going on. But yeah, I mean, good for her. I'm glad she asked him and she put him on the spot. And I think that's what he needed. Because I think when you're going through this, you have to have somebody question you, right? You have to have somebody be like, do you really love this person? So then you could go back and really think about it, because sometimes you might just get caught up in the moment and just say things and not really know if you mean them. So I think that was good, and in my opinion.
Okay, Joe, what did you think though about that actual statement that she said, like, you fell for Claire, you fell for Tayshia, and now you're falling for Katie? Like,
okay,
what did you think of like what did you like? Because facts though.
Okay, this is what I think. If I'm going to be completely honest, I think it was too early on for anything to have transpired with him and Claire. So I don't really buy that ever happened. I think.
But he had a one-on-one date, didn't he, with Claire?
Sure. But I just think it was too early for, that to have actually meant anything. Maybe he said, I don't know if he even said it, like he was in love with her, falling in love with her, but I just think it was too early, in my opinion.
Well, can I chime in here?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think the issue with that one was, Claire was announced and the season was kind of postponed a little bit because of COVID. And so at that point, these guys really knew that Claire was going to be the Bachelorette. And so they had some time to think. And I think that Blake made it very known that he had done his research on Claire. He even bought a book to try to learn how to be sympathetic regarding Claire's mom, because that's such a big part of her life and something that she really takes a lot of her own personal time to take care of. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he wanted to be able to relate to her and be able to sympathize and empathize with her when she was going through all that hardship. So,
and didn't
I think that
wasn't he the only one that she actually spoke to, or that she admitted to speaking to, or something like that from her season? Like, they spoke beforehand?
I think that he did reach out and say something to her, when she was going through a rough patch, and they had some correspondence.
I'm sure she didn't talk to Dale at all. I mean, I'm sure that wasn't a thing.
We're not talking about Dale right now, Joe. We talking about Blake.
Okay.
Anyway, I almost called you Blake. Blake. No, but Joe, I'm just trying to give you the background.
That I think that makes sense.
Remember, it was in the beginning, he was very into Claire. He was this is what I want. And even, I'm not gonna lie, when I came onto the scene, Blake even told me, he's this is gonna be really hard for me because I really was into Claire. Okay. And I don't know. He even told me, I don't know if I'm going to be able to move on past it. I'm going to need a little bit of time. And then the next conversation we had, he's that's in the past. I want to try this. I want to move forward, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So, and not blah, blah, blah to be rude, but I'm just saying you know what I mean? It was definitely a conversation that we did have. So, well, with that being said,
I think here, this is, so I guess I think Blake thinks like most men, and
oh God,
he was leading with sexual attraction and lust, and sure, when Tayshia popped on the scene, he was probably she's hot. I definitely will.
Why will I go home?
Yeah, I
will get there.
Yeah, yes, I will fall. He looked at her. This is what I think. I think he looked at Tayshia and said, I will fall in love with this girl. It's gonna happen. I'm picturing her naked. That's. But I'll tell you, that's probably what he was thinking. And I think that's what happened. So I think that.
So he got there.
Yeah. Okay. And with Katie, at least from a viewer standpoint, I see more of a connection between those two. Mm-hmm, I see more of a friendship turning into a loving relationship, in my opinion.
And you said that's the best relationships, friends first. You said that. I remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
You did.
Because when you lead with just attraction, you could get lost in that.
Right.
I actually do. A really good point made by you, surprisingly. I agree. I agree with you, actually, though. That first conversation that they did have together, it just kind of looked like they just got each other in a way. Like they had known each other, and the connection there was like undeniable, if you will. Like we definitely saw something.
Yeah.
Yes. But didn't she mention
and that's not something that just happens?
Didn't she mention that they also talked beforehand too?
Yeah, but I know that he had like said like, hey, like I don't remember the exact words, but it was more of like, that was a really strong way to come out of the limo. Like, good job for being you.
Okay.
And I don't think I think she like responded, but I don't think that she really went any further than that.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it was like, hey, I think you're hot. Like, hey, I think you're hot. Like, I don't think it was like ever flirtatious.
Even if it was talking through DMs or talking through FaceTime or on the phone, it's like, sure, but once you actually meet the person, like in real time and in face to face, things change. Like you could be DMing someone and think you're going to be into them, and then meet them, and there's no chemistry,
and you run away.
How many times has that happened?
Which I have done.
Yeah. You were like,
you're like, yeah, that's not
I
it.
see
baby.
why you don't smile in your pictures.
That photo was definitely edited.
Yes,
okay,
exactly.
You are not 6'3". You are exactly 7'5'7". Okay.
Yeah. Well, shout out to Blake's sister, because I will say that was a moment.
I've met somebody like that.
That was a real moment when Blake's sister said that, because everybody really, I think, was thinking that, like, oh wait, where you come from? Wait, hold on, what? You've had 3 bachelorettes now, huh? So shout out to his sister for asking the hard hitting questions.
Absolutely. But also,
hometowns.
that's the reason why I also love hometowns, because you can't freaking run and hide from your parents.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like. And honestly, if these guys are putting on something, you see it on the parents' faces even, like, what the are you doing? And like, this doesn't even feel right. You know what I mean? And so that's why I always appreciate it. And we've seen it in the past where families have looked uncomfortable and you're just like,
what's going on?
Okay, something's wrong here. Or they look extremely happy and they are like very loving and like they see a difference in their child. You know what I mean? So it's like, you can't run. Like they know you better than anyone. You can't run from them.
Yeah.
So that's why I always think it's very telling and it's a very pivotal week to have hometowns.
Yes.
But it's also hard. It's also hard for friends and family who haven't been through this process to relate.
100%.
Because they're automatically going to be like, what are you talking about? Like, this sounds crazy.
I would have loved to see a hometown for you, Joe. I would have loved to see that.
I just want to meet your family.
I feel like your dad, Joe has sent me a text message, screenshot of something that his dad said. Listen, your dad at hometown, gold, baby.
My dad
I just want to spend a Sunday with the Amables.
Amably. You know, you've said it perfect up until like for the past year, and now you're just Jesus Christ.
I just need y'all to know that we about to get into the clickbait about friendship intimacy, because I see y'all need it.
Oh, sorry. Oh.
Okay. Yeah, what is this about?
What do we need?
Okay, so this clickbait this week is about how basically when I read this article, I was like, okay, so you have a partner. And it's not always great to put all the stock into your partner, into your romantic relationship, because I think that's when we put too much on our partners to solve all of our problems. Sometimes you need that girl time to go be like, hey, boo, let's go talk about things that girls talk about, or guys, let's go talk about things that guys talk about. And I'm not going to hope that my partner can relate to me and whatever thing that I'm going through, because it has nothing to do with our relationship, right? So in that, we have to nourish our friendships. And this article talks so good about how, and when they say intimacy, it's not sexual intimacy, of course, or it's not like, let me
completely platonic.
Exactly. It's a platonic, intimate situation where when you can come to a friend and say something, you can open up to them and your friend actually receive, I see you, I hear you, I feel that. And then you feel that closer connection because you're getting through to this person as a friend. And most of the time people feel like they can only relate to their partner in that way. And and sometimes that's too much pressure on your partner, because your partner is not only is not there to solve all your problems, neither are your friends. But I think the gist of this article is about giving space to friends and allowing yourself to open up to friends and vice versa, and nourish those relationships, because you can't put everything on your partner in your loving relationship, right?
Yeah, but okay, so this is where I'm confused.
Okay.
Isn't this what you're supposed to be like? Isn't this what friends are for?
This is what friends are for, but okay, I'll give you a perfect example, right? So validating feelings. So some people, like myself sometimes, okay, Tayshia, you come to me with a problem and I go into problem solving mode, right? Immediately. I'm like, well, we could do this and we could do this and we could do this. And you're just like, I don't even need all that. I just need you to hear that I had a bad day today, and that I just need you to receive that. So this article is talking about how to properly properly open space for a friend, if that makes sense, right? Because there are times I think that people do go into problem solving mode, or they go into logic and they say, I mean, and Joe, you do this a lot, by the way, I'm calling you out. Joe is like, I'm just logical, you know, like, so you're tripping about this, and like, you shouldn't be, because it doesn't matter anyway. And although that's the logical truth, sometimes a friend just needs you to hear them and be like, well, listen, that is messed up, and I see you, I feel you, I hear you, and that's it. And so that's where I think the article comes in, and where I think we all can just like save space for friends, right? Do you see what I mean by that, Joe?
I do see what you mean, and I don't agree with you.
Of course you don't.
Go ahead. This is why.
In your defense, Joe, I will say that I feel like this is a very common thing in males. It's not even just you.
Totally.
Maybe.
But it's something that is
logic.
It's 100% something that I think is actually taught to a lot of the men, as opposed to, like, for females, we are just naturally vulnerable and empathetic, and, you know what I mean, very nurturing. And it's not very common with men for them to be exactly that.
Yeah, I would say you're probably right. I would say you're right about that, because yes, Natasha, you've come to me with things, and I'd be like, well,
we talk about paradise, y'all.
Well, yeah. Okay, so if Natasha, she's come to me about things that happen on Paradise, and I'd be like, well, the truth is, like, this is why this happened. This is why this happened. So at the end of the day, like, you know, you're going to have to deal with it. It's not that big of a deal. Where she probably, yes, I get it. Where you probably wanted me to be more comforting.
Right.
As a friend. But for me, I feel like that's, you know, like, I guess for me, I think like that's not helpful.
Right.
Like I'm not being helpful as a friend, because I always like, for me, I always want my friends to shoot me straight. So when I'm like, this happened, and they'll be like, well, you're an idiot. That's, you know, that happened because you're an asshole. Like, you shouldn't have let that happen. And I'm like, all right.
You know, I don't want to say like I think I know everything, because I absolutely don't. But actually, I've been dealing a lot with this, like even in Zach and I's relationship and just in general. And I think I talked about this on our podcast like a couple weeks ago. But with that, Joe, I think that men are generally problem solvers, and they just kind of want to be like, well, it's not that big of a deal. Like, move on, let's go. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Because there isn't a problem. It's your feelings.
Right. There's not a problem. And their resolution is just like, okay, it's not that big of a deal. And if you need to go deal with it, go deal with it. And then it's done and over with.
So I want to read you guys this. It says, consider how you respond when your friends confide in you about their problems. Do you go straight into problem solving mode? While you might think that it's being helpful, it's actually not validating. The person actually feels like you skipped over their emotions and experiences, and you're going straight to logic, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, so, I do that. I'm
Yes, and listen, my brother does the same thing. He's always like, yo, you feeling too much. You gotta get out of your feelings. He always says that to me. And I get that. And the truth is like, after I get over my emotional stint, I do go back to things that Joe says, and he's like, yeah, he's right. You know what? Whatever. And you kind of get back to that mode, and you feel that position. But I also think one of the things that one of the things in the article that I didn't agree with was they talk about loyalty, and I do think that it's very important to be a loyal friend, right? But I also believe in individuality, and I think that if Joe is friends with someone that I don't particularly care for, I won't feel like, oh, I can still trust my relationship with Joe and not feel like, oh, well, why is he hanging out with that person and I don't like them, right? Like, he's an individual. What he gets from this person is completely different than what I get from this person. And so this article says, like, you know, you can't sit with us. Like, if I don't like him, Joe, you can't hang out with him. Tayshia, you can't hang. It's like, I don't believe in that personally, from like a spiritual aspect and like from like a Christian aspect. I think that people are people, and how they deal with you doesn't necessarily mean they deal with other people. So that's one thing I don't agree with. But how do you guys deal with that when like you have a bestie and they're friends with someone that you don't really, and you know, in this Bachelor world, it get real messy.
So, okay.
It does get messy.
So so if my brother or one of my really close friends, like childhood friends.
Not brother.
Okay, I'm just saying, if my brother or one of my really close childhood friends, like my best friend, if they don't like somebody, I don't like them. Okay. That's just kind of how I am.
But what about a Bachelor friend?
No, I mean, listen.
Like, say I didn't really like
Clay
Harbor.
Well, Clay's my friend.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So I guess. Well, you are my friend too. So here's the thing. It would be like, why, right? If Clay said like some really, or did something very malicious to you that like really hurt you, and it was like an evil thing, well, then I would judge him as a person and be like, why the hell did you do that?
The thing is like how I feel is like, I feel like for my friends, I try to hold space for them. I think that when you meet someone and you're already friends with someone and you already know that they don't like someone, you already have like a twisted thing, I think, in your head, like, ooh, like I gotta watch out for this person, right? But if you organically become friends with someone and then you organically become friends with someone else and you have no idea that there was an issue between two people, I think that puts the person who's friends with both in a hard place, because you don't want to pick sides. It's the same thing with like relationships. Like if you're friends with a boyfriend and a girlfriend, it's like, and then they break up, it's like, are you forced to pick sides, or do you?
That's the worst.
It's the worst. It is.
Well, I think it's all situational. It really is
situational. But also, I think that I think that one thing doesn't equate to the other, and I think that you can still be very loyal and honest and truthful, and like the type of person that I am, I would never say something about someone that I wouldn't say to their face, because y'all know I don't care, right? So I'm not gonna be, and I'm also not gonna listen to people harp on things and commentate. I'm gonna hear you out and be like, that's messed up that you feel that way. I don't have that relationship with that person, right? Like, personally, I don't have that relationship with that person. So for me, I think that there is a way. It's hard, but I do think that there is a way to see things in other people. And I mean, it's a gift and a curse. I see the best in people, and then I get fucked over too sometimes. So it happens.
I've definitely experienced like where like my best friend has like thought that someone else is their friend and has their best interest, and I've definitely told him since day one of me meeting them, like, someone you should probably watch out for. I understand that you're your friend. That's your friend, but I don't want to be associated. And I never have. I formulate my own opinions about people. Like you might say, like, I really don't like Joe, and I'm like, okay, well, then I'll meet Joe and I'll figure out if I do like him or not. That's just like what I feel like you need to do. But if I do get a bad vibe, like I am not the type of person to just linger around because I feel like I have to. Like I know better for myself, and so I will tell my friends, and it has happened a lot of times, and everybody says you're, no offense, but you're right, and that person ends up burning that person, my friend. And I'm like, I told you so. Y'all haven't learned yet, but now they know.
Yes, that's happened to me before too with certain people where you just feel the vibe and you're just like, It's like if you some people I'm like, if you talk to your mama like that, you're gonna talk to me like that one day. You know, like what? What? I've seen it before. I've seen it. I'm like,
Sometimes you are just so funny, so funny.
If you talk to your mama like that, you're gonna talk to me like that one day.
I'm telling you, it's true.
Okay, great. I'm so excited. Kaitlyn is on her way.
Yes. She's heard. Yes. Okay. Yeah, honey, I got some questions. Look, let me bring out my notepad for Kaitlyn.
So Kaitlyn is coming on the podcast. She's our guest. And she was on Clickbait when we were gone.
Yeah, I'm so excited to meet her because let me tell you something. I love me some Jason. Ever since Jason was on our podcast, I love him. Hi, Kaitlyn.
Hi, how are you?
Good. We had Jason on and I tell everybody I love him. I even put him on my story. Yesterday, I said I love him. I love him so much.
He's a good one.
So freaking cute.
All right, so let's just get right into it, Kaitlyn. What happened at the end of that episode? What was going on?
I think Katie's still on the bathroom floor to this day. I said that to somebody else today. I think she's still there. Yeah, that was. You know what's crazy though is I actually didn't really fully know how that all went down till I watched it back. So I was just hearing Katie's side of the story, and she was actually really self-deprecating about it. Like I feel like she wasn't angry at the time. Like she wasn't telling me, "Oh, Greg gaslighted me," and blah blah. She was kind of like, "I don't know what happened," and so it was interesting for me to watch it back. Because I think I felt bad for Greg until I watched it back. Oh.
Okay. All right. So now this is where we all have different opinions here.
Now we're all different. Natasha and I have similar, and now you and Joe have similar. Really? Mm-hmm. So let's talk about it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about it. Okay. So in the moment, wait, I'm sorry, Joe. In the moment, you said you heard Katie's story, and then you felt bad, and then you watched it back, and you felt like Greg was in the wrong?
I was more like confused, actually.
Yes.
And wanted to see what really happened. And then watching back, I was like, could Katie have been a little more, reactive to him saying these things? Of course. But the way he responded back to that, I thought was bullshit.
I kind of did too. Joe? Yeah, I agree. And Greg seems like a nice guy. And I just, I felt like it was like he just hung on to it and wouldn't let it go. And it was like, okay, listen, I mean, this is the show. She's dating multiple guys. She obviously saying I love you is going to be really big. Mm-hmm. But this is what it is. There's 3 guys left. She's making a huge decision. There
are lists. There are roses. Yeah. There are placements. Yeah.
This isn't regular life. It is the show.
But she gave him so much reassurance the whole show. See, this is where I see differently. It's just
because go Tayshia.
At the same time, he just opened up about something that was so it took a lot for him to open up about it. He was so vulnerable. And in that moment, when you do finally put those walls down, you want to be validated. You know what I mean? And we know this because we were all on the show at some point. It's just it takes a lot for you to open up and be comfortable. It took me a couple of weeks to be able to feel okay, wait, I can actually formulate a sentence in front of this guy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's he was finally able to do that, and then he got and it's just
I like looking at you.
It's just and the thing is that I also struggle with is just you can connect with him and you can actually relate to him in so many ways that not a lot of people can.
I agree with
that.
I agree she didn't handle it well in that moment.
Right, but I feel like they were both, there was a lot going through both of their minds. And so obviously shoulda, coulda, woulda on the outside, but in the moment, I'm sure they were both hurting. And so they didn't handle the situation the best.
But I feel like it got to the main thing that, and I was talking to my friend about this, the main thing that I kept hearing was, well, I don't know what you want me to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know what you want me to say. It was there was a lot of that, but it's he just opened up to you about his dad. You also have a dad who passed away. Connect on that. He just said that he's falling in love with you. One thing that Tayshia did real good on her season, she had just grabbed the face. Come here. Oh, you said that. Come here. And she would just grab a face, give him a kiss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We said that. We're she should have just grabbed his face and been I hear you.
Literally.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was just there was and I feel I feel like, you know, we see this whole thing of him seeing her and Greg together, and he's like, okay, I really care about this person. I have to really show her how I feel. And if it's reciprocated even a little bit, I know it's me. I know we're going through this thing and we're going to do it. I feel like he had this seed of doubt when he saw Blake and her together. And it was like, I'm going to give her everything and see what she throws back. And she gave like nothing.
But maybe
in
something
that moment.
shifted in Katie after her date where she's like, maybe Greg's not my guy. So then when he's pouring his heart out, maybe she's like, oh gosh, what do I do? Because now I don't see myself with him at the end, and now I want to protect my other relationships. So I'm just going to like listen. And
there's that aspect of it too, where like we both have been in that situation and we're just like, okay, wait, hold on. I actually can't be that person to comfort you in this time because you're not my person.
right.
Yes.
So,
Yes. And I think he felt that. So I think that's where and again, I don't know what's happening with editing. I definitely think we didn't see everything, but it seemed like it went 0 to 100 real quick. Cause it's like, this is like, and I said this on my story, like this is supposed to be a happy moment. Like you just met my family, like hometown's like, woohoo, like let's go. And like, it just flipped so, and she kept saying, this is so hard, but not saying what was so hard. And that for me, I was like, what? Come on, give me more. I just needed more in that moment.
Look at Joe.
Well, maybe he would have forgave her if it was raining or something. But here's the thing, okay? This is what this is what I think, okay? I agree. Katie could have definitely handled it better. But
that moment, yeah.
If it's real love, I just don't think it was enough to call it quits off of that. You know?
Right. But it's the Bachelorette because she can't really fully reciprocate it if she can't validate him yet until the end. And I think he just wanted to quit before he got fired. I think his ego was so hurt in that moment that he was like, I'm going to just flip this shit and get out of here. Otherwise, it's not me. Really.
Right.
Yes. And I think in that moment, he knew that it wasn't him because I think about it. It's like, if this is a person you're going to pick, you're going to find a way to validate them in some sort of way. Right. Like I think. And so because he felt like he got nothing, I think that he knew it wasn't him. So yeah, he quit before he was fired. I definitely think that was a situation, but I don't necessarily blame him for that. And also, the conversation with Kaitlyn, something happened. And I was like, because I watched it twice, right? When she says, on one hand, I'm falling in love, and on the other hand, I'm getting my heart broken. Michael A leaves, Greg leaves, all of my confidence is gone. I was like, so you're falling in love with Blake or Justin, and Greg just left, so that was heartbreaking because someone left. As Bachelorettes, Kaitlyn, did you have people self-eliminate on your season?
He wanted to leave this.
She was like, hell no.
I don't think anybody. Oh yeah, I did have one guy, but again, no, two guys. Okay, I did have two guys. It was the same thing. They both were like madly in love, and then because I wasn't showing it back, they were like, I'm out of here.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God. I'm really happy that you just said that because I was like, oh my God, someone did that to me on mine. I'm like, oh my God.
I actually forgot because it was kind of early.
So that's what I want to know. Like, as the Bachelorette, when you get so far, it's like, I'm sure you're like, I'm picking my husband. That's the whole reason why we're here, right? These men are for me, and like, I'm picking my husband. So with her having Michael A leave and then Greg leave, do you think, like, putting on your Bachelorette head, does it just hit the ego so hard that like you feel a certain type of way? Because I was trying to figure out how she really felt in that moment. Like, how did you guys feel when those things happen? Like, does it just hit that hard?
It does hurt the ego quite a bit.
It does.
And I think Katie, I think Bachelorettes do a really good job at compartmentalizing their relationships where they're really in the moment with their people. Maybe Bachelors do it too, but I just know that, like, for me, I really like exhausted the relationships until the end, and it felt like you're just so emotionally drained by the end of it. And if somebody isn't like we all said, Katie isn't returning the emotion that Greg was, but Greg also wasn't returning the emotion because he just left.
Right.
And so I think she was like, wow, that could have been my person, and like he really showed me that he could not hang if things got hard. And so I think she could have been like fully still invested in Justin and Blake, but in that moment she was rock bottom from Greg.
Right.
Okay, do you think Kaitlyn, you think if you were not there on the bathroom floor with her in that room, do you think she leaves?
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think.
Yeah?
I do. I think she was like really calling it quits, and she didn't have. That's why it's so cool to have us there. Like, she really was like, I feel so alone. Nobody can understand this. I'm going home. I don't even care what that means for my contract. I don't care what that means for the other two guys. Like, she in that moment was so done. And to hear someone else be like, I had that exact moment. I wanted to quit. I told everybody I was quitting. They didn't show it, but I said all of those things that you were saying. And trust me, when you get to the end, even if you don't pick anyone, even if you pick someone, you're going to be like, whoa, that happened for a reason. Like, just battle through this. This is the worst part. You're almost done. And it's going to like just be so emotionally exhausting in this point, and you want to give up, but like, just hang in there.
It's very different talking to someone that could relate and like is actually a female, like around your age, as opposed to like, even though the producers are there, like it's just so different because like you almost feel like of course they're going to tell you, oh, this has happened before.
Right.
But it's very different talking to someone that was like, no, like I actually felt this way. A guy did that same exact thing to me. That's why we talk to our girlfriends. You know what I mean? It's just like, there's some comfort in that. And so that's why it's so great that we're on this journey with these women, because everything that they're feeling, we have absolutely felt before. And it's just so different hearing that from a peer that you actually can relate to, as opposed to someone that's just like, oh, they're feeding me that.
Right.
So now, this is what I want to ask. All right?
He gets so
if you're
excited.
if you're the guy at the end, or vice versa, you're the girl at the end that was the Bachelor, and you hear, and you're the one that she picks, and you hear that, you know, a week before she picks you, she was willing to just quit and leave. Do you take that personal? Like, I feel like that would really bother me.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's the intent.
No matter what, if you are like eyes on the prize from day one, that's my guy, and you pick him at the end and he feels confident through the whole thing, they're still going to have a hard time watching it back. It's always going to be something. But this situation in particular, obviously you would feel like the default, and I don't think anybody wants to feel that way. Even if they aren't, they still are going to feel that way, and that's going to be really hard. Because I always said to the therapist after the show, I would be like, the therapist said to me, you know, Sean's going to need a lot of validation. And I was like, so am I.
Yeah.
Like, and they don't understand that you've just gone through this whirlwind where you didn't want to like hurt people's feelings. But that's your job, to be in the moment and exhaust those relationships until the end. And you had to figure it out to find your person. And at the end, they're both going to need to validate each other that, you know, he's not going to give up and just leave, or she's going to, you know, depending on what happens.
Yeah, no matter who it is, I think always needs validation. Even like I experienced that. Doesn't matter me watching it back versus like Zach watching it back. He felt that way. And I was like, Zach, I'm literally in your apartment watching this episode right now, holding your hand, telling you I love you. Like, that's so far from what I was actually like feeling, especially even now. You know what I mean? So it's just
because you're put on this pedestal where everybody thinks you're like, you know, and then you come down and it's real life, and you don't have all these guys chasing you, and you were with that one person who's making you almost be like, well, validate me. And you're like, well, validate me too.
It's hard.
It's hard.
It's a hard transition.
Very hard transition.
Do you watch it back? Do you all watch it back? Does everybody watch it back?
I didn't. I probably watched 1 or 2 episodes. I did not watch it all back.
Really?
No.
I watched every second of mine.
Really?
3 times over. I was like studying everything that happened just to like mentally prepare and go on like, what's that, damage control?
No. Literally, my girlfriends would ask, are we watching it tonight? Or are we going out to dinner and getting drinks? And I said, we're getting drinks tonight. And there were times where I'm just like, nope, I'd rather be at a restaurant. I'd rather be occupied. I'd rather just be distracted. Like, there were times I knew that there were going to be tough talks or situations or whatever. And I just didn't want to go back to that headspace.
Watching like
I was like,
over and over.
That was my one word of advice. I told her,
she really?
you don't need to watch it all.
Yeah, she's watching a lot. So what do you guys think? So, you know,
I don't think I'm going to watch Paradise back, but go ahead.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's crazy.
All these, I don't know either, Joe. I take that back. I'm definitely going to watch it. I'm definitely going to watch it. I am. So yeah. Anyways, I'm saying though, like, so Katie clearly is definitely watching this. And like I said, after watching this episode, there was a lot of things that, for me personally as a viewer, that was put into perspective. And I do hear what you're saying, Joe, as far as like if the person feels a certain type of way, but I think that intent matters so much. And I think that conversation, again, this is why I said this earlier, the conversation that Tayshia, you had with her when you guys were walking, and also the conversation that you and Kaitlyn, you and her just had on this episode, they're so telling, because I think, like you said, you kind of open up this gate for the Bachelorette to be so vulnerable and say how she really feels. And it's not to a producer, and it's not to the guys, and it's to someone who's been through this. So you feel a little bit more comfortable. And that conversation that you guys had, I just learned so much from the things that she said, even though it was through a door, right? And I feel like as a viewer, you guys really open up a different wall, a third level to it, right? For us. And going forward, I think with her watching the show back, and do you think that she sees it the way that it happens? And like, have you talked to her about what she's seeing versus what was happening in that moment? Do you think she sees it, or is it different?
I talked to her this morning, maybe even about this, just because I was like, I hope like you got some validation from how you were feeling last night. I know you like pay attention to the internet, and I know it can be rough. And she was like, I don't remember being that silent to Greg after he opened up to me. And she was like, I think I was just really listening. And she goes, watching it back was tough, because she's like, I don't remember being that quiet. And so she realizes in that moment that she could have done more. And then I think she's more like, wow, I'm glad that happened there, you know, and I could realize that he wasn't my person. I think she's feeling a lot of closure and comfort from watching it back.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Kaitlyn, do you remember your limo entrance on The Bachelor?
Yes.
Do you remember it?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you remember it? Did you ever think when you stepped out of that limo that one day you would be hosting the fucking show? For real. I mean,
Going home night one, I was like, this guy's gonna think I'm nuts. And like, I was just a firecracker all night. I thought I was going home night one, so I was trying to get all my best lines out, and like, I was just like throwing out one-liners and doing tequila shots, and I was like, gotta go hot, you know?
Oh my God, this girl.
I didn't even, like, when they talked to me about being the Bachelorette, I was like, yeah, right. Like,
Totally.
even I don't even want to say his name, but thou who shall not be named, who spoils, he was like, they'd never pick Kaitlyn to be the Bachelorette. Like, she's too out there. And so I was like, oh, I know. I wasn't even offended. I was like, no. So now to be in this position, I'm like, oh my gosh.
This girl.
You're like, out there works. Out there works.
Very well deserved, okay? That's because you're relatable.
Well, I mean, thank you. It's very crazy to think about. I oftentimes have an out-of-body experience. Every time we say, Katie, gentlemen, this is the final rose, I'm like, I said it!
Yeah, or whenever, like, we're like, even getting dressed for these things again. Oh, it's another rose here. I'm like, what? Like, why am I here? What am I still doing? Like,
No, I can't believe they
so
still
crazy.
trust me.
I know. Shit, I can't believe they still trust me.
do you think it'll ever feel like normal? Like, this makes sense now? Yeah, I mean, it's going to eventually.
I mean, yeah, I guess so, but nothing ever feels normal. Like, even Joe, as you know, being on Dancing with the Stars, every time I'd be like, what is happening? I would, like, before the countdown with the 4 clicks and the dancing starts, you're like, what world am I living in right now? And each week it just gets crazier. And I feel like just anytime that there's TV camera, like Tayshia and I were walking down the hallway, we're like, we make TV. How weird is this?
So weird.
Like, it's so weird to think about cameras being there, and it's like not just a little TV show. Like, this isn't a little TV show here.
It's like the biggest.
It's so funny.
It's
I
on
feel
one of
like
the
it's a little
biggest
TV show. Like,
networks
I don't
in the
watch it,
country.
so like I don't even feel like it's that big. Like,
we just feel like little old, you know, Tweedledee and Tweedledum over here doing our thing, and then we're like, wait,
it's like a YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's not just
It is.
Prime time, baby. Prime
You guys are like a
time.
big. I'm sitting here, and you guys are like a big deal. And yeah.
Have
Yeah,
your
I mean,
fangirl
you really
moment.
are.
Yes, have your fangirl moment, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm not having. I mean, whatever. Fuck you guys, but no, you guys, no, you guys are.
To bring them back.
You guys are a big deal. But actually,
No,
going
it's so
back, those 4 clicks were the scariest clicks.
Scariest clicks in my
Ever.
life.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes,
the
you're
scariest
standing
clicks
there
ever.
and
They haunt me in my sleep. I like hear it happening, and I'm like,
No, I want to hear the clicks. I want. What are they?
Okay.
I want to
Okay.
experience that.
What are you guys talking about?
All right, so
Dancing with the
before
Stars.
when you're on Dancing with the Stars, when you're getting ready for your dance and you're standing there, you have a minute and you have to watch back like your clip, and then you hear 4 clicks, and on the 4th one, the song starts and you're off to the races and you got to dance. It was a much different experience for Kaitlyn than myself because I was the worst dancer in the history of the fucking show. So it was
bragging no matter what.
It was horrifying, but yeah, I mean, those clicks, you would just be like, oh my God, this is going to happen. Then you got to go.
Yeah, it's like an obnoxious noise, and you hear it every single time in hours and hours of rehearsal. It's always the 4 clicks that go into the dance. And then when it's the real deal, it's like you hear those 4 clicks and you know that you're on live television, like, and you cannot blow it.
Is it kind of like, I don't know if you guys were like athletes in school, but like track
dancer?
race.
Like in track,
It's
where
like
it goes,
track race,
clap.
like when like they would snap the gun.
Yeah.
like you just have to. It's like go time, and
Gotta
you
get it.
You sit there, you're done. Like you lost the race, like you're out of it.
Yeah.
you can't. Like it's go time, and it just pops out. There's not a 1, 2, 3. It's just a, and you have to go.
One.
Yeah.
But this one's different because you have rhinestones and glitter all over your body, and
Yeah,
and
you're
you
half
got to
naked.
remember.
Yeah.
But Kaitlyn, I mean, you won.
You won.
You actually.
You
won.
won.
I mean,
That never gets
And
old. That's
deservedly
really
so. You were honestly, you were great. You really were. Congrats, honestly, to both of you guys. It's incredible.
Thank you.
I'm so happy. I enjoy
And on the
watching you both.
engagement.
And everything that's happening in your life, you both deserve it. It's well deserved. People say people are lucky. I don't believe that. I think hard work and skill and dedication, and I think you both have it. So congrats, and Kaitlyn, thanks for coming on Clickbait.
Yes.
You're always welcome to come on our little small podcast here.
Yes.
Thank you for having me on. I always enjoy it. And it was nice to meet you both on, no, I've met you, Joe, to meet you on Zoom.
Yes.
To hang out on Zoom with all of you.
I think the last time you were on, they weren't here, huh?
No,
Okay, so this is the
here.
Clickbait crew, babe.
that's fun.
Okay, wait. I'm so happy you were here. But also, we have to tell everybody to make sure to tune into After the Final Rose
Yes, Monday.
next week. It is Katie's season finale, and it is a wild freaking ride.
It really was. We were there, front seats. We should have had our popcorn.
We really should have.
because it's a lot goes down, and I think a lot of people are going to get a lot of closure.
And I don't think people actually know what to expect and are going to be ready for what's about to come. Mm-hmm. It's it's
like
going
that.
to be a wild finale,
Yeah.
and we are so happy we were able to be there. And
I can't wait to watch it. We should watch it together.
okay, we should do a live viewing.
Yes, you should.
Done.
Wait, that'll be
Please.
so fun.
You should.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Okay.
Kaitlyn.
Meet you. Thanks, Kaitlyn.
It was so nice to have Kaitlyn here. And thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in once again. We'll see you next week.
Yes, and as always, make sure to subscribe and submit all your burning questions. Check us out on social and like, comment, DM us. You know where to find us at ClickbaitBN on Instagram and Bachelor Nation Pods on Facebook and Twitter.
And share your stories with us. We want to know what clickbait you're getting into this week. Subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the Wondery app, or wherever you guys are listening right now. Hit the subscribe button.